It's not often, if ever, that we do box openings on our channel. But I thought because this had to do with something that Diane and I love so much, I thought we'd share it with you. Now look who it's from to begin with. See that? Selkirk. So Selkirk sells pickleball equipment. In this box, I actually have some paddles that I wanted to share with you and tell you about something that Diane and I do. So these happen to be the new Luxx paddles from Selkirk. There you go, look at that. This is the Invicta, the Selkirk Luxx Invicta. This is the Selkirk Luxx S2. And here we have the Selkirk Luxx Epic right here. Check those out. Aren't those great looking paddles? So I've been playing with Selkirk paddles for probably 4 years or more now. Same thing with Diane. We started out with a different brand and we kind of gravitated to Selkirk. We loved them so much. And we love the sport of pickleball so much that Diane and I have shown many people as we travel around the country how to play the sport. And I thought we'd go a step further. So we have become Selkirk advocates. Now let me explain the Selkirk Advocate program to you. What that means is Diane and I carry a number of paddles along with us. They're demo paddles. And then if we travel around, somebody wants to try a Selkirk paddle, we loan them a paddle. They can keep it for a few games or a day or 2 or 3 days and try it out and then give it back to us. If they like the paddle, they can order it from Selkirk online. If they do order it online and they use our advocate code, which I'll put right up here, then, so for example, if they buy a $200 paddle, they will get a $30 electronic gift card from Selkirk that they could use for whatever they want to. And in turn, we get a small token applied to an account with Selkirk that we can purchase more demo paddles with. We never get a penny put in our pocket. All we do is have money put into an account that we can buy more demo paddles to share with people as we travel around the country. So no financial gain for us at all. All we do is promote a paddle that we like to use ourselves, promote the sport. Quite often we travel to very small communities that may only have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 courts. They're not large enough to really bring in tournaments to where they get the opportunity to play a bunch of demo paddles by people bringing their equipment and setting up tents and whatnot. And it seems to help people out in small communities. Some of those people never travel to go to a pickleball tournament, so they never get to try a paddle. They buy something on Amazon or directly from a vendor and never try the paddle at all. And this way we give them a chance to try a paddle before they buy it. So that's what we do. So again, they use this advocate code right up here. Same thing, if you were to use our advocate code, then you would get an electronic gift card depending on how much you spend. We would get a small token in return and we could buy more paddles to share with people as we travel around the country. So that's what we do. We've been doing the advocate program for, I don't know, a year, 2 years maybe by this time. And we carry, I think, 12 or 13 paddles with us. I will start flashing some of those paddles right up here so you can get an idea what we carry. And they all say demo on it, just like that. See what I mean? So we can loan them out. We cannot sell paddles. If we sell a demo paddle and Selkirk finds out about it, they can take us off of the advocate program. And we don't want to do that. We enjoy sharing paddles with people as we travel around the country. So I don't know. It's just a fun thing for us. So back to these Luxx paddles. I'm really looking forward to giving these a try. I've been playing with these Selkirk paddles for quite a while, as I mentioned. And the Luxx model is the newest thing out. They used to have, or they still do have, and in like the Invicta Air, it's a power air. They have it in the Invicta, the S2, and the Epic, just like these. And it's really a power paddle. And a lot of the paddles that different manufacturers around the country have been kind of geared toward power. A lot of players seem to love that power game. I'm one of them. I love the power game. And Selkirk decided they would start catering a little bit more to the soft touch and the control game. The power air paddles have fantastic power, but on the control side, they're not rated real high, even though they're a great paddle to play with. So these paddles are really geared toward the player that wants that controlled touch feel type play, yet still has plenty of power. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play with these paddles for a while. I'm going to give them a few hours or a few days on the courts, and then I'll probably do a separate video talking about what I think about them. If that's something you might be interested in, let me know down in the comments. We don't typically do paddle videos on our channel because we're a full-time RV channel. We don't typically do that. But if you'd be interested to hear on some things that I feel about this paddle or any of the other paddles that I showed you pictures of right up here, leave a comment down below. Now, we're average players. We're not pro tour players. We're not 5-0 players out there. We do play a lot. When we're in our winter resort, we play 5 to 6 days a week, 2 to 3 hours a day, pretty average. So we're decent players, but we're not your professional players. So you'll get a take from people that are just your average run-of-the-mill pickleball lovers. All right. Again, leave us a comment down below in the description if you want to see more paddle stuff. So that's what I wanted to tell you about. Again, if you think you like the idea of Diane and I running around the country and helping other pickleballers out, giving them a chance to try paddles, if you use our code, that helps us help others. So keep that in mind, this code right up here. All right. I might come back with some little bit of feedback on what I think about these after maybe one day of play. Then I'll come back and do another video after I get some good court time with them. All right. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I told you I'd come back and give you my initial thoughts on these Luxx paddles. So here I am. As I talk about them, I'm going to put some information off the side. You can kind of read about them as we go along. And I'm going to start out with the Invicta, because I've been playing with an elongated paddle for the last few years, and it's just natural for me to grab for the Invicta paddle. Let's start out with serves. So I'm going to call it my no-brainer, no thought process serve is a hard, low over the net, 2-3 inches, a lot of top inside-out spin that gets to the back of the court and kind of skips out. That's my no-brainer serve. I don't even think about that serve. It just comes naturally. So when I do it with the Luxx paddle, I found that I was still getting a low. I had a lot of top inside-out spin. Spin is fantastic on this paddle. But I found I was not getting the ball to the back of the opposite side of the court. So that made me swing a little extra hard, which made it not my natural no-brainer swing, right? Not my natural serve. Had to think about it a little bit more. Even though I could still get it to the back of the court, it just wasn't my natural serve. So I had to give this a little bit more power. So what that made me do is I raised up my serve a little bit. So now it's a little higher over the net, got it back to the back of the court on the opposing side. It was still a great serve, just not as powerful what I'm used to. So that's my thoughts on the serve. I still loved it. It's still great. I got a lot of spin on the ball, but just not what I was used to. Now, if I did my arching serve, which is my second go-to serve, a little higher arch with some spin on it, that worked just great with this paddle. Then as far as getting drop shots, man, this felt really good doing drop shots. I hate using the term buttery, but they were buttery smooth. Drop shots felt very natural, came very quick, didn't take hardly any time at all to get my drop shots in. Dinking at the net felt really good. The touch, even the sound sounded good to my ears. So everything was working pretty well with this paddle. So my initial thoughts are I could get used to this paddle and play with it very easily. Now what I do think I'm going to do, because I do have 2 demo paddles of the Luxx Invicta. I have some weights coming. I typically don't put weight on my paddles, but I've talked to a few people that put weight on these paddles, and they say it really brings more power in. And because, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I think I do enjoy a power game, I have some tape coming, and I'm going to start putting some light weight on this paddle, and I'm going to try it. Then I can compare the two, the non-weighted Invicta to the weighted Invicta. And when I do that and get some more play time in, if I get enough comments down below asking for it, I will come back and do another video after I get a lot more play time on these paddles. So I do like the Invicta. It felt really good in hand, and looking forward to a lot more play time. All right, now let's talk about the S2. Actually, before I go to the S2, one more thing about the Invicta. I feel that the sweet spot on the Luxx Invicta feels larger than the sweet spot on my Power Air Invicta. Now, I've heard other people say the same thing, and from the time I've had a chance to play with this paddle, I have to agree with that, and it's worth mentioning. Now let's go to the S2. So I've mentioned I gravitate to the elongated paddle, so anytime I grab a standard shape paddle, I think about it. My mind thinks about it. But it didn't take any time at all that I felt very comfortable with this paddle. Same as the Invicta, it took a little bit more oomph behind my serves, my natural no-brainer serve, to get to the back of the opposing court, right? But again, no big deal, a little more arch, I was just fine. Drop shots with this, buttery smooth, very comfortable right from the get-go. My first few drop shots with this, I thought, man, if they all were this good, I'd be a happy, happy man. Drop shots, very good. Dinking at the net, same thing. Very comfortable dinking at the net. I felt very confident at the net. And then came the faster play. So I'm the kind of player, if I get at the net and we're both at the kitchen lines and I get a hard ball hit at me, I'm ready for game on. I thrive on that rapid fire play at the net. But I wanted to concentrate more on the control part of this paddle. So when those types of plays started up, I really concentrated on doing resets. I didn't get in the battle. I started doing resets, even drives from the line. Instead of driving it back, I purposely would soften it up and try and get into that dinking game and do resets. Man, resets came very, very easy with this paddle. I was very happy with this. In fact, I only played with this, like I said, maybe I got in 10, 12, 15 games with this. But at the end of the play, I said, you know what? Maybe I should switch to the standard size paddle for a while and see how that works out for me. It felt that good in hand. Now, that was just that day. Being an average player one day to the next can change drastically. But that's what I think about the S2. I loved playing with the S2. Now the Epic, I never really grabbed the Epic and played anything with it. In my mind, the Epic and the S2 are so close together that I just played with the S2. I still want to play with the Epic. I will go out and play with it. I'll report back on it. If enough people comment down below, say they want to hear me talk about the Epic as well. I want to get some play in. I just felt so good with the S2. I didn't feel the need to grab the Epic and play. And of course, I gravitate to the Invicta. So anyway, there you go. That's my initial thoughts on the Luxx paddles. I'm very impressed with them. I'm really looking forward to getting some more play. But after I get a month or a couple months of play in, I'll come back and talk about them some more. But as I mentioned, if you want to hear my thoughts on any of the other paddles that we carry with us, let me know down below. I'll tell you what I think about them. Like I said, we're typically a full-time RVers channel. I didn't want to dilute it with a bunch of pickleball stuff. There are a lot of great channels out there talking about paddles and pickleball gear, but if you want to hear some from me, I'll be happy to share it. And again, don't forget, if you use that code right up there, you'll get a discount. You get actually a gift card. We get a small kickback. We can buy more demo paddles. We can share those demo paddles with other people and help people as we travel around the country. All right, that's it for this video. As always, if you enjoyed the video at all, how about a thumbs up? Leave a comment down below. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.